The definition of define is to describe the meaning of something, but how is this meaning created? A man by the name of Levi Strauss said that we do it through understanding the difference between the word and its opposite. For example, the meaning of hero, we can define it through knowing its opposite, villain. And so we know that a hero is someone who does the opposite of what a villain does, or is in opposition with the villain. This is Levi Strauss's theory of binary opposites. In a narrative, these binary opposites will most likely be in conflict, and to quote Strauss, all narratives, all driven by a constant creation of conflict. Narrative can only end on a resolution of this conflict. Levi Strauss also said that the conflict of these opposites is what constructs plot. A great example of a film that uses this theory is Shaun Meadows' This Is England.
Alright, mate.
Hey, all. What's the matter?
Nothing.
What's with face ache? You look upset. What's to do?
Nothing. It's all people picking on me, taking the mick out of me.
Oh, mate, you're breaking me heart. Come and sit down for 5 minutes.
Why?
Look at them flares.
You know what I mean? That's what I fucking mean
What's
there.
your deal? You can see he's upset. Will you behave with the flirt comments? Just come on. 5 minutes. Just come and have a sit down, mate.
But
Come
you
on.
all just pick on me. Everyone does.
Oh, come and sit down, mate. I feel bloody sorry for you. Just come and sit down 5 minutes. Just give me 5 minutes to make you feel better. Come on, mate. Bloody hell. It can't be that bad, eh? So what's this? Who's picking on you, lad?
Some lad at school.
What's his name?
Levi.
Levi?
So the bloody girl's name is...
Levi.
Hello, I'm...
Levi.
I've come to give you jip.
One of the most obvious binary opposites is of Woody and Combo. In the film, they are both seen as father figures to Shaun at certain points, and the opposing attitudes of Woody and Combo help to drive the narrative. Woody is a comforting and caring character towards Shaun.
Take it too far.
I feel bad now.
This, in some ways, is opposite to Combo's character, as he is still protective of Shaun, but is quite obviously far more violent and radical. This opposite is resolved in the end, alluded to by Shaun throwing the flag, a symbol of Combo's ideology, into the sea. This binary opposite is an underlying conflict within the whole film, with Shaun fighting in the start, the symbolism of the Falklands War, to the internal conflict in Combo. This film depicts the second wave of the skinhead culture in the 1980s. Some factions of this wave were heavily associated with neo-Nazism and racism, represented through the character of Combo. However, traditional skinheads, like Woody and the gang, identify with the original subculture of the 60s, with heavy emphasis on mod fashion and ska music. Another film that uses binary opposites is Danny Boyle's Trainspotting. This film uses this narrative technique much more loosely and plays with its conventions. This binary opposite is a prime example of how the film develops the way they use this technique, because through the point of view narrative, it is obvious that Renton is the hero, but there is no apparent villain in the film. However, it seems that heroin, or more specifically Renton's desire for drugs and his nihilism at the start, can be seen as the villain. Trainspotting's ideology also uses binary opposites to convey the lad culture. Ladism was associated with the traditional masculine attitude and behaviours. This included drinking, going to the pub with your friends, watching football and acting tough. So basically Begbie. But the new lad had started to emerge in the 80s. It was associated with a man that could fit the traditional masculine image, but was more in touch with his feelings and would take interest in further, sometimes more intellectual activities. Renton's character is an example of the new lad. This is a very prominent feature of the film. It is also a convention of British film, as one of the main aspects is surrealism. This is explicitly shown from the toilet scene to the overdose scene. These show the harsh reality of the characters' lives, but also the fantastical effects of heroin on a person. It uses it to try and get the audience to really understand the experience of taking drugs.
Open your eyes! Wake up! Come on, wake up!
In the end, Strauss's Binary Opposites outlines the very foundations of basic plot and narrative. This theory can be applied to almost every film or book. This juxtaposition allows for the audience to see the bigger picture. And as always, thanks for watching.